Your Android phone is lying to you. Right now, as you read this, there are folders buried deep inside your device that you have never seen, never opened, and never touched. And they are silently consuming gigabytes of your storage every single day. You deleted your photos, you uninstalled your apps, you cleared your downloads, and yet the storage warning keeps coming back. That is not a glitch. That is not bad luck. That is your phone hiding something from you, something it was never designed to show you. Today, we are going to find it and delete it forever. There's a moment every Android user knows. You pick up your phone, you try to take a photo, record a video, or install a new app, and the notification hits you like a wall, storage full, and you stare at it confused, maybe even frustrated, because you just deleted everything. You went through your gallery and wiped out hundreds of photos. You removed apps you had not opened in months. You cleared your downloads folder. You did everything the internet told you to do. And still, your phone is telling you there's no space left. Think about what that means for a second. Where's all your storage actually going? Here's the answer that most people never find, and that most tech tutorials never give you. Your phone is not just storing the things you put on it. It is storing the ghost of everything you have ever done on it. Every photo you deleted left something behind. Every app you uninstalled left a shadow on your device. Every video you watched, every file you downloaded, every social media scroll session, all of it left a trace. And those traces have been quietly stacking up, folder by folder, gigabyte by gigabyte, in places your phone deliberately keeps invisible from you. This is not an accident. This is how Android was designed. The system creates these files to make your phone run faster, to cache data so apps load quicker, to keep previews so your gallery opens without lag. These are legitimate functions, but the problem is what happens over time. These files accumulate, they grow, they multiply, and they never clean themselves up. The system builds them but never destroys them. So after 6 months, after a year, after 2 years of daily phone use, you are sitting on a mountain of invisible digital waste that your phone is quietly treating as valuable storage. And here is where it gets worse. Your phone does not even show you these folders by default. They are hidden, not in the sense that they are locked or encrypted or protected behind some government-level security. They are hidden in the simplest possible way. They have a period in front of their name, a single dot. On Android, any folder or file that begins with a dot is treated as a hidden system file and is not displayed in your regular file manager. So when you open your storage and browse through your folders, you are only seeing part of the picture. The rest of it, the part that is eating your storage, is sitting right there, invisible, waiting to be found. Let us start with the most notorious hidden folder on any Android device. It lives inside your DCIM directory, the folder where your camera saves all your photos and videos. Inside DCIM, buried underneath your camera folder, is a hidden folder called Image Thumbnails. This folder exists for a very practical reason. Every time you take a photo or save an image to your phone, Android generates a small compressed preview version of that image, a thumbnail, so that when you open your gallery app, the images can load quickly without the app having to process the full high-resolution file every single time. That is efficient. That is smart design. But here's the problem that nobody talks about. When you delete a photo, Android removes the original file. But it does not remove the thumbnail. The preview image for a photo that no longer exists stays inside that thumbnails folder indefinitely. It just sits there, taking up space, pointing to a file that is gone. And because that folder is hidden by default, most users never find it. On a phone that has been used for a year or two, especially by someone who takes a lot of photos, that thumbnails folder can grow to well over 1 gigabyte. On some heavily used devices, it has been reported to reach 2 or even 3 gigabytes. All preview images of photos that were deleted months or years ago. Read that again. Gigabytes of storage consumed by miniature versions of photos that no longer exist anywhere on your phone. Deleting the thumbnails folder is completely safe. When you delete it, your gallery app will simply regenerate the thumbnails for the photos and videos you actually still have. There will be a brief moment when your gallery reloads and the images look blank or blurry. This is normal. The phone is just rebuilding the previews for the files that are still present. Within seconds to a minute, everything looks normal again. But the ghost thumbnails, the ones pointing to deleted files, those do not come back. They are gone for good. And the storage they were occupying is now yours again. But that is just the first layer. And this is where it gets significantly more interesting. Because the thumbnails folder is actually one of the easier problems to explain. The situation inside your Android data directory is far more complex and far more significant in terms of how much storage it can consume without your knowledge. Inside your phone's internal storage, there is a folder called Android. Most users who browse their file manager have probably seen it. It does not look hidden. It does not start with a dot. It sits right there in your internal storage, alongside your downloads, DCIM, and pictures folders. But what is inside it is something most people have never looked at carefully. The Android folder contains two major subdirectories, Android Data and Android.obb. These two folders are where apps store their external data, things like downloaded game levels, offline maps, locally stored settings, media content, and large data packages that apps need to function. Now, under normal circumstances, when you install an app, it creates a folder in Android Data and possibly one in Android.obb. When you uninstall that app, those folders should be removed. But here is the thing that the tech industry quietly acknowledges and almost never advertises. Android does not always clean up after itself when you uninstall an app. In many cases, the app is removed from your device, but the folders it created inside Android, Data, and Android.obb remain behind. They sit there, completely disconnected from any app, taking up space with data that serves absolutely no purpose anymore. According to informed sources and documented findings across Android forums and independent tech analyses, these leftover folders, commonly referred to as ghost folders or orphaned data, can be substantial. Heavy mobile games, for example, often download several gigabytes of extra data into the Android OBB folder to function. If you installed and removed even 3 or 4 heavy games over the past year, those data packages may still be sitting on your device right now. Combined, they could easily represent 5, 10, or in extreme cases, even 20 gigabytes of dead weight. Think about what that means. You uninstalled a game thinking you had freed up the space it occupied, but you only freed up the space the app itself used. The data it downloaded, the extra content, the game levels, the audio files, the texture packs, all of that stayed behind. Silently. In a folder your phone is not telling you about, and this pattern repeats for every app, every game, every tool you have installed and removed over your phone's lifetime. Each one potentially leaving behind a folder full of data that is no longer connected to anything, no longer useful for anything, but still fully occupying your storage. The real story here is that Android's design philosophy prioritizes speed and functionality over storage hygiene. The system was built to make apps run fast, load data quickly, and deliver a smooth user experience. Cleaning up after itself when apps are removed was treated as secondary, and for years, this was fine. When phones had limited storage, people were more careful about what they installed. But today, with high-resolution cameras, 4K video recording, and dozens of apps all generating data simultaneously, this neglect has become a real problem for real people. The average Android user generates and accumulates hidden data at a rate they are completely unaware of. Now let us talk about WhatsApp, because no conversation about hidden Android storage would be complete without addressing what is arguably the single biggest hidden storage drain on billions of phones worldwide. WhatsApp is used by over 2 billion people globally, and it has a storage behavior that most of those users do not fully understand. When someone sends you a photo or video in WhatsApp, the app automatically downloads it to your device. This is convenient. You can view media even when you go offline. But here's the part that most people miss entirely. WhatsApp does not just save that media once. It organizes it, catalogs it, backs it up, and in some cases, creates multiple versions or references to the same file across different folders. Navigate into your file manager and go to internal storage, then look for the WhatsApp folder, then media. Inside, you will find separate folders for WhatsApp images, WhatsApp video, WhatsApp audio, WhatsApp documents, and WhatsApp voice notes. If you have been using WhatsApp for more than a year and have never manually cleaned this folder, what you find there may genuinely shock you. Videos alone can consume several gigabytes. Images accumulate into the tens of thousands. Audio files from voice notes, music clips, and shared audio stack up constantly. And the vast majority of this content, probably 80 to 90% of it, is media you viewed once, forgot about, and will never look at again. But it goes even deeper than the media folder. What most people are not seeing is a subfolder called Databases, located inside the WhatsApp directory. This folder contains encrypted backup files of your entire WhatsApp message history. WhatsApp creates a new backup every single day. Not just one backup, it creates rolling daily backups going back multiple days, as well as weekly and monthly backup snapshots. Each of these backup files can be several hundred megabytes in size. According to documented user findings, the WhatsApp Databases folder on a phone that has been in inactive use for a year or two can contain backup files totaling well over 1 gigabyte, sometimes reaching nearly 2 gigabytes, of encrypted data sitting in a folder most users have never visited. You can safely delete the older backup files, keeping only the most recent one, and reclaim all that space immediately. And this is where everything changes, because we are not just talking about inconvenience, we are talking about performance. When your Android storage fills beyond a certain threshold, typically when less than 10% of your total storage remains free, the device begins to experience measurable performance degradation. Android needs free storage to perform routine system operations. It needs space to write temporary files when running apps, to store system logs, to process camera images before saving them, and to carry out background tasks like indexing your files and running security scans. When that working space disappears, the phone slows down. Apps take longer to open. The camera lags before saving photos. System updates fail to install. The phone may begin freezing, crashing apps unexpectedly, or showing constant low storage warnings that interrupt everything you try to do. This is not about having space for more photos and videos. This is about your phone being able to function properly at all. A phone running on minimal storage is like an office with every desk covered in clutter. There is nowhere to actually do any work. And because most of the clutter is hidden, most users never understand why their phone is slowing down. They assume the phone is getting old. They assume the hardware is degrading. They may even consider buying a new device, but in reality, the phone is often perfectly capable of running smoothly. It is just drowning in invisible data. It was never taught to clean up. Now let us walk through exactly how to find and eliminate all of this hidden waste. The first step is unlocking the ability to see what your phone has been hiding from you. Open your File Manager application. On Samsung devices, this is called My Files. On other Android devices, it may be called File Manager, Files, or something similar. If your phone does not have a built-in File Manager, download Files by Google from the Play Store. It is free, made by Google itself, and is one of the most reliable tools for this purpose. Once your File Manager is open, look for a Settings option. This is usually accessed through the three-dot menu in the top right corner. Inside the settings, look for an option called Show Hidden Files or Show System Files. Enable it. From this moment forward, your File Manager will display every folder on your device, including all the hidden ones that begin with a dot. Now navigate to internal storage and find the DCIM folder. Open it. Inside, alongside your camera folder, you will likely see the thumbnails folder that was previously invisible. Open it, select all the files inside, and delete them. Do not worry about losing anything important. These are purely preview images, and they will regenerate automatically for your existing photos the next time you open your gallery. What you're deleting are the thumbnails for photos that no longer exist. The storage they were occupying will be freed instantly. On a phone that has been in use for a year or more, do not be surprised if this single action returns several hundred megabytes to well over a gigabyte of storage immediately. Next, navigate back to internal storage and find the Android folder. Open it, and then open the subfolder called Data. What you will see is a list of folders, each named after an app using a format like COM, app name. Example. This naming convention corresponds directly to the app's package name, its unique identifier on the Android system. What you're looking for are folders with names that match apps you have already uninstalled. If you scroll through and see folder names for games or applications you removed months ago, those are ghost folders. They are orphaned data with no app attached to them. You can delete them safely. The app is gone. The data has no owner and serves no function. Removing these folders can free anywhere from a few hundred megabytes to multiple gigabytes depending on how many apps you have installed and removed over time. Do the same inside the Android OB folder. This is where game data packs live, and if you have ever installed and removed mobile games, especially large ones, this folder may contain substantial amounts of leftover data. Some popular games download data packs that are 1, 2, or even 3 gigabytes in size. If you removed the game but the OBB folder remained, that data has been sitting on your device ever since, doing absolutely nothing except occupying space you could be using for something else. Find folders for apps that no longer exist on your device and remove them. The storage returns to you immediately. Now visit the WhatsApp Media folder, navigate to internal storage, then WhatsApp, then Media. Go through each subfolder and assess honestly what you need to keep. Memes, forwarded videos, old images from group chats. Most of this content is not worth keeping. Select what you do not need and delete it. Then navigate to internal storage, then WhatsApp, then databases. You will find a series of backup files with names like MSG Store, DB Crypt14, and MSG Store YY MMDD1, DB Crypt14. The most recent file is your current backup. The older files are historical snapshots. You can delete the older ones while keeping the most recent backup. This alone commonly returns half a gigabyte to over a gigabyte of storage on phones, where WhatsApp has been active for more than a year. There's another category of hidden storage drain that deserves its own mention, and it is one that catches people completely off guard. Your phone's Downloads folder. Not the media saved by WhatsApp or other apps. The actual Downloads folder at the root of your internal storage. This folder accumulates every file you have ever downloaded through your browser, every PDF you opened from an email, every APK file you downloaded to sideload an application, every document someone shared with you through a link. These files do not delete themselves. They sit in the downloads folder indefinitely, and over time, the folder can become an enormous archive of files you downloaded once, used once, and then forgot about completely. Sorting through this folder and removing files you no longer need is one of the fastest and simplest ways to reclaim significant storage. But here is something even more specific and even more overlooked. On Samsung devices, there is a hidden system diagnostic feature that almost nobody outside of technician circles knows about. Open your phone app, the one you use to make calls, and dial the code *9900#. This opens a hidden system menu called the sysdump. Inside this menu, there's an option to delete system log files. These are diagnostic files that Samsung's system generates constantly in the background to record information about the phone's performance, errors, and operations. Under normal circumstances, these logs are useful for engineers and support teams. But on a device that has been in use for a long time, these log files can accumulate to a surprising size. Deleting them through this menu is safe and can return additional storage that standard cleanup methods never touch. For users who want to take this process even further, there is an open source application called SD Made 2 SE, available on both the Google Play Store and the F-Droid repository. This application has a tool called Corpse Finder, which is designed specifically to hunt down and identify ghost folders, leftover data from uninstalled apps. When you run a scan, it cross-references all the folders in your Android data and Android OBB directories against the list of apps currently installed on your device. Any folder that does not have a corresponding installed app is flagged as an orphan, displayed with its size, and offered for deletion. Users who have run this tool on phones they have owned for multiple years have reported finding and removing 5, 10, or even more gigabytes of ghost data in a single session. The app is free, has no advertisements, and its open source nature means its code can be independently reviewed by anyone who wants to verify what it does. What makes all of this particularly significant is the scale at which it applies. Consider that there are currently well over 3 billion active Android devices in the world. Consider that the average user keeps their Android phone for approximately 2 to 3 years before replacing it. That means billions of devices right now are running with varying degrees of invisible storage waste, slowing down, showing storage warnings, and causing user frustration. Not because the hardware is inadequate, but because nobody showed the user where the hidden clutter was accumulating. The problem is not unique to any one brand or model. Samsung, Xiaomi, OnePlus, Oppo, Vivo, Motorola, Google Pixel. Every Android device running these standard file system behaviors is subject to the same invisible accumulation. It is a systemic characteristic of how Android handles file management, not a flaw specific to any manufacturer. The irony is profound. Phone manufacturers spend billions of dollars marketing larger storage capacities. The phone industry has moved from 32 gigabytes to 64, then to 128. And now flagship devices commonly offer 256 or even 512 gigabytes of internal storage. But the hidden data problem scales with usage, not with storage size. A 256 gigabyte phone that has been in daily use for 2 years can have just as significant a percentage of its storage consumed by hidden waste as a 64 gigabyte phone. More storage capacity does not solve the problem. It just delays the moment when the user notices it. And when they do notice, they go through the same cycle of deleting visible files, not finding the problem, and feeling confused and frustrated. There's also a performance angle to this that extends beyond simple storage capacity. When your Android phone's storage is almost full, the operating system begins to behave differently in ways that are not always obvious. Background app refresh becomes inconsistent. The system takes longer to write files, which means photos take a split second longer to save after you take them. App updates begin to fail silently because there's not enough free space to download and install the update package. System-level processes that run during the night, backing up data, indexing new files, running security checks, begin to fail or run incompletely because there is no room to write the temporary files they need. These failures do not show up as obvious error messages. They manifest as subtle sluggishness, occasional app crashes, missed update notifications, and a general feeling that the phone is getting slower and less reliable with age. For most users, this feels exactly like hardware degradation. It is not. It is a storage crisis that the phone is handling quietly and poorly. The moment you clear the hidden folders, the thumbnails, the ghost app data, the WhatsApp backups, the forgotten downloads, the phone often feels measurably more responsive within minutes. Apps open faster. The camera saves photos without delay. Notifications become more reliable. Updates that had been failing suddenly complete successfully. This is not a placebo effect. This is the Android operating system being given the working room it needs to function as it was designed to function. And this brings us to maintenance. Because clearing these folders once is valuable, but the real benefit comes from making it a periodic habit. The current thumbnails folder begins rebuilding the moment you start taking photos again, And ghost thumbnails from deleted photos will accumulate once more over time. The WhatsApp databases folder generates a new backup every 24 hours. The downloads folder collects new files every time you open a browser. Ghost app data appears every time you install and remove an application. The hidden waste is not a one-time problem. It is an ongoing characteristic of how Android operates. Making a habit of reviewing these locations once every few months, clearing thumbnails, auditing the downloads folder, deleting old WhatsApp backups, and checking Android data for orphaned folders, keeps the storage breathing and the phone performing at its actual capability. There is one final thing worth understanding before you close this and go clean your phone. The reason this information is not more widely known is not because it is complicated or dangerous. It is because it is not profitable for anyone to tell you. Phone manufacturers benefit when you feel your current device is inadequate and consider upgrading to a newer model with more storage. App developers benefit from not having their apps scrutinized for the amount of data they leave behind. Cloud storage services benefit when you feel your phone is full and look for external storage solutions. Nobody in the technology supply chain is incentivized to tell you that the problem might already be solved, sitting in hidden folders on the device you already own, waiting for you to spend 5 minutes finding and deleting it. But now you know. You know about thumbnails and why it never cleans itself. You know about Android data and Android OB and the ghost folders left behind by every app you ever installed and removed. You know about WhatsApp's hidden media archive and its rolling database backups. You know about the forgotten downloads folder and its invisible history of everything you ever downloaded. You know about Samsung's hidden log clearing system menu. You know about SD-Made and Corpse Finder and how to find orphaned data that standard tools never surface. You have the complete picture now. Not the simplified version, not the surface level tip, but the actual architecture of where your storage goes and how to take it back. The question that remains is this. If this storage has been hiding from you all along, what else about your phone are you not seeing? What other processes are running in the background, accumulating data, consuming resources, and operating completely outside your awareness? Because the thumbnails folder is the one that most people stumble upon eventually. But the ghost app data, in Android.obb, the encrypted WhatsApp backup chain, the hidden system logs, those stay invisible to almost everyone. And if these are the things we can find and fix today, what is sitting in the layers beneath them that has not been mapped yet, that the next Android version will quietly generate, and that will start filling your storage all over again before you even realize it is happening? Something to think about, because your phone is not finished hiding things from you. Not yet.